I'm Ryan.
I'm Arian.
And I'm Sarah.
And this is our presentation on millennials in the workforce. I will start off this presentation with what are millennials and identify the issues and concerns of millennials.
I will go on with the second part, which problems have been noticed and how human resource deals with recruit, train, and retrain them.
And finally, I'll conclude with the economic implications of millennials and their impact on U.S.
Millennials are the generation born between 1980 and 1989. The first millennial college graduates entered the workforce in the summer of 2004. They will continue to do so in large numbers until around 2022. Before we go through the challenges millennials face, it is important to look at where the differences come from. The millennials are the children of the baby boomers and Generation X. They are sometimes called the internet generation because technology is such a natural part of their lives. In the workplace, millennials many times do not feel challenged with the work given to them. They do not need to be explained how to use technology like the older generations. It's being studied more and more that millennials, because of their immersion in technology, are actually wired differently than other generations. UCLA neuroscientist Gary Small has mapped actual changes in neural circuitry that develop with the acquisition and repetition of technological skills. Millennials, because of their digital immersion right away in their lives, are accustomed to word processing and emails, and a lot of times not having to put much thought into it, while the older generations who are accustomed to face-to-face communication and handwriting documents have to adapt to the technology. There is a big difference in the way baby boomers and Generation X treat work compared to millennials. Millennials are touchier at work. If they are not getting what they feel they need, they will have no problem moving on to another employer. Millennials demand constant feedback from supervisors and managers, while the older generations want to be left alone at work. Millennials, when asked why they are leaving a company, often say it's from lack of feedback and no positive reinforcement from their superiors. This has dumbfounded many managers and supervisors who are treating these new employees no differently than the baby boomer employees who have worked for the company for many years. This leads to many managers labeling millennials and denying that change is needed to make them happy. Millennials' positive qualities are they work well in teams, are motivated to have an impact on the organization, and favor open and frequent communication with their supervisors. The millennial generation is the largest group to enter the workforce since the baby boomer generation, and as this group grows significantly as a proportion to the workforce over the next 20 years, employers will need to make major adjustments in their engagement models. Millennials are often labeled as needy and selfish because of their upbringing in college. In college, this generation has received timelines on the first day of the semester on what will be done throughout the entire semester. Google is a perfect example of what employers who find millennials vitally important and are changing the workplace into what millennials need. Google recognized that millennials need flexibility in the workplace and now offer workout rooms, cafeteria, into garage door style offices. While this alienates other generations, they have a major appeal to millennials. Another way Google appeals to millennials is their concept of a reward. Once, when one of Google's top managers took an initiative to go with an idea that had a lot of risk involved, the manager ended up costing Google millions of dollars for this gamble. In Google's discipline, they rewarded her with praise. They said that in doing this project, she portrayed initiative and willing to take a chance. This is the basis of Google's philosophy and proved it to other employees with how they handle this situation. Millennials will thrive in this environment because of their childhood of growing up and getting trophies for 15th place to their parents praising everything.
Today I will talk about two questions. The first one, which problems have been noticed in the last years? And the second one, how human resource deals with recruit, train, and retain millennials. I will start now with the first question. Which problems have been noticed in the last years? For this question, I will focus on a very common problem, which was discussed in many articles. namely the problem of communication and understanding between managers and millennials. On one hand, managers do not understand why millennials always ask why. Managers are struggling with that question. They wonder why they don't accept that they do things a certain way, or even think millennials challenge their authority. On the other hand, millennials do not understand why managers are so set in their ways and impatient with questions. In addition to this problem, managers should see those kind of problems in a different angle and be more open-minded. Because millennials are just curious and they ask so many questions because they want to learn more. Millennials explain that they do not distrust managers' experience. It is just because they want to understand the background of the situation first. Now we'll go on with question number 2. How human resource deals with recruit, train, and retain millennials. Nowadays, many experts are focusing on this topic. I want to point out some key practices for developing millennials. First, inquiry. Managers should talk about immediate career goals. They should ask and talk to millennials about their expectations and what goals they want to reach in the nearest future. Number 2, listen with an open mind. It is important that managers listen with an open mind. If managers judge before millennials finish their thoughts or explain their view, it is not really beneficial. 3, mentor and mean it. Managers should use every opportunity as a learning moment. They should give them the benefits of their experience, history, and context of the situation. Tips on how to deal with the situation and show them the big picture, not just the puzzle piece. And the last one, engage. If managers hire or recruit new millennials, they should talk in detail with them about firm values, firm culture, and client service. Managers should make sure that the new employees understand how important those values are for the company.
There have been many changes recently in how the economy works in general, and because of this, millennials have changed to adapt as well. Outsourcing of large segments of knowledge work such as low-level jobs involving information processing, data entry, and analysis support, as well as an increase in support of higher-level jobs such as accounting and law have been seen. This, along with the increase in work-related education, has caused millennials to search for jobs much differently, where if something doesn't seem like the dream job that they were looking for, they aren't as likely to apply for it. This mindset, accompanied with this generation's surge of attendance in college, has made comparing it to previous generations much harder. In 1970, only 32% of those between 25 and 29 had actually attended college, which had increased to 56% by 2008. One of the most important functions of business that millennials will be affecting will be the challenges they produce coming into the business world that has been tailored to the boomer generation. Much of the corporate policies and functions have been molded by how the boomer generation has been working through the years. And now, as the millennials are stepping into the workplace, they are met with complications that don't fit their ideal workplace. Millennials have much more open view of the workplace when it comes to managerial positions, receiving recognition on how they perform and their duties as employees. First off, their view of the workplace competition. The boomers see this as the best and only way to move up in the workplace, however. Millennials see this, that working together, to be much more beneficial. They don't take things as competition, but more as collaborations. Because of this, when they are working on projects, they expect their supervisors to take part and help as much as they do each of their fellow employees. They put preferences on work and family balances, and that instead of increasing profit or bonuses, they have mindsets for job security and benefits.